Of course, we're discussing matters World Education Day and trying to figure out how we can make sure that no child is left behind as far as getting access to quality education and healthcare. And she was just telling us before we had to go on break about some of the work that's being done in places like, for example, Samburu and counties that are especially in the northern frontier that are prone to a lot of insecurity. But I want to shift a little bit and ask Peninah, how can government and the private sector collaborate to make sure that at the end of the day, there's no one left behind? Because ideally it should be a government job, but the way our country's set up, we need to work together, right?
All right. So I'll talk about issues of partnership. So the private sector and the government can collaborate in partnership. That one is in areas which are lack or there's inadequate service, especially in the different parts of Kenya. So when we have partnership, it means that we can really look at the gaps that exist in the education sector and have those gaps fixed. Another thing that I will talk about on how government and private sector can collaborate is in policy development. We have different policies relating to education and also different policies relating to children. So we can have both the sectors coming together and developing a policy that will ensure equitable and also sustainable education for all. Another area that I'll talk about is about resource mobilization, because for government, it cannot do all things alone, and also for the private sector as well, we cannot accomplish everything. So we need collaboration in terms of resource mobilization so that we can fix the gaps. For example, I'll talk in terms of infrastructure. When you go to different parts of Kenya, you'll find that there's a gap of infrastructure. And to ensure that children have a safe environment and they have a conducive learning environment so that we can ensure that the children are peaceful and they have equitable and also quality education, we need partnership in such areas.
True.
And I'll just mention that for World Vision, we've been partnering with the government in terms of infrastructure, and especially for those counties, as I've mentioned, the ones which are prone to conflict, as it reflects in this year theme about learning for peace. So we are talking about such collaborations, and also I can also talk about training. So when we talk about training, we can train on different models relating to education, on different aspects on children well-being, so that we can have a holistic society where children are being cared for and they are provided for quality education and access to all.
Maybe very briefly before we go into the music, everyone has their KPIs for their industry, right? How do we tell that these initiatives are working? What are the key performance indicators, you would say?
One of the key performance indicators I'll say for these is the enrollment rate in schools, because that one we can get from the reports, from the government reports, so that you can see what are the enrollment rates in the different parts of Kenya. That will inform us, are these strategies working? Are there enough spaces for children? Are there resources for children? Are there adequate teachers for children? So when we have a low enrollment rate, it means that not all children are going to school. And maybe they're prone to different situations, some of which are harmful, some of which are violence against children, some which are harmful cultural practices. So when you look at the enrollment rate, it can really give us heads up on the current situation. Another thing I'll mention is about the transition rate. That is from one grade to another or from one level to another. That one can inform if all these initiatives through the partnership of the private and the government sector are working towards providing equality for all children, and if all children are also going to school.
All right.